The spotlight, which has long shone harshly on one of Liverpool's greatest players, has now shifted to another face on a gloomy evening at Anfield. Mohamed Salah, who has recently been the target of a barrage of criticism for his clear decline in form this season, was once again forced to accept a starting role on the bench for the second consecutive Premier League match as Sunderland marched to Anfield on Wednesday night. However, the figure who captured all the attention and became the hottest topic after the match was not Salah, but Captain Virgil van Dijk. The defender, once seen as an impregnable steel wall and the foundation upon which Liverpool conquered countless major titles, unexpectedly worried fans with an unconvincing, even clumsy, performance in a disappointing 1-1 draw. Van Dijk has turned 34 and Mohamed Salah is now 33, both having signed new 2-year contracts during the summer transfer window. At that time, no one within Liverpool expressed doubt or hesitation about the decision to continue with two pillars in the twilight of their careers. On the contrary, it was seen as a powerful statement, affirming the club's absolute trust in the vast experience, proven class, and irreplaceable influence that both Van Dijk and Salah bring to the collective. Yet, as the season has progressed, reality has revealed a painful paradox. The form of both is plummeting in a way that worries fans and pundits alike. Liverpool's defensive system has looked more fragile than ever, especially since manager Arne Slot and the recruitment department undertook a massive £450 million overhaul in the summer. Such a colossal investment was expected to bring a new wind and long-term stability, but to date, the actual effect remains very limited, offering no guarantees for the future of the Merseyside club. Simultaneously, Van Dijk, the epitome of solidity and cunning in Liverpool's defense for many years, is gradually losing the image of impenetrable shield that once made all of Europe wary. Since joining Liverpool in January 2018 for a £75 million fee from Southampton, Van Dijk rose to become one of the world's finest centre-backs. But at this moment, that aura is fading rapidly. The Dutch star no longer receives stable support from the backline, especially with Ibrahima Konate suffering a serious dip in form and new signing still struggling to adapt to the left-back role in the new tactical system. However, it is difficult to argue that his teammates' limitations are the sole cause of the defensive instability, for Van Dijk himself has made numerous mistakes. The most notable was the handball in a moment of confusion, which directly contributed to the penalty in the heavy home defeat to PSV in the Champions League at Anfield, a former fortress. The version of Van Dijk that fans once knew, calm, decisive, completely dominant, is increasingly distant, leaving major questions about the future of Liverpool's defense for the rest of the season. All the lingering issues in Van Dijk's play and form were exposed most clearly in the 67th minute of Wednesday night's match, the moment Kemsdijn Talbij scored the opening goal, a goal Sunderland fully deserved. The situation began with a misplaced pass from Van Dijk, a handling error, almost unbelievable by his usual standards. Instead of immediately charging forward to correct his mistake, the Dutch defender hesitated, stood still, and even turned his back as Kemsdijn Talbij took a shot from 25 yards. The ball then took a slight deflection off him, completely deceiving goalkeeper Alisson, who couldn't react in time, leading to a deeply frustrating concession. What further infuriated fans was that Van Dijk repeatedly fell back into the habit of turning away as the opponent shot. This was not the first time, and unfortunately, it is precisely the type of error that can cost a team dearly. For a world-class player who is the pillar leading Liverpool to the pinnacles of the Premier League and Champions League, such moments of lost composure are becoming more concerning than ever. While it's true the situation leading to the goal was somewhat unlucky with an unintended deflection, fairly and objectively, it was still the direct consequence of Van Dijk failing to maintain his decisiveness. That moment of hesitation created the necessary space for Kemsdijn Talbij to confidently take a shot, and he exploited that opportunity thoroughly. Former England captain Steven Gerrard offered blunt but entirely accurate assessment on BBC Radio 5 Live, capturing the full issue. Van Dijk loses the ball and then chooses to retreat. That is clearly a wrong decision. He must proactively close down, must put pressure on the ball carrier. When he is indecisive, the players around him also become confused, not knowing how to react. Not stopping there, Jamie Redknapp, former Liverpool midfielder, also expressed deep disappointment on Sky Sports, emphasizing the severity of this decline. Last season, Van Dijk made almost no mistakes. Every game, he showed the image of a true leader, always in control. But now he is constantly making errors and is clearly losing the confidence that was the foundation of him being a top European defender. These comments are not just personal criticism, but a warning bell for all of Liverpool. For when the greatest pillar in defense begins to wobble, the entire system becomes more fragile than ever. And much like the case with Salah, a player who has reached Van Dijk's caliber certainly cannot be taken lightly, especially when he has won 2 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League, 1 FA Cup, and 2 League Cups during his glorious time at Liverpool. Yet this season, he is showing a version far more faded than his peak form. His average ball recoveries per game have fallen to the lowest since joining Liverpool, while tackles and interceptions have also noticeably decreased compared to last season. And although the responsibility of leading the entire team is not a duty assigned solely to Van Dijk in a Liverpool squad with no shortage of battle-hardened veterans, in the recent match, that leader's voice was almost entirely absent. No one truly stepped up to inspire, lead, or provide the necessary mental spark in a disjointed collective lacking cohesion, and seemingly having completely lost the ability to control matches as they once possessed at their peak. Van Dijk's poor form, especially when he was forced to push forward and act as a makeshift striker in the final moments, perfectly reflected the overall lethargy, staleness, and lack of vitality in Liverpool's overall performance. This made the victory over West Ham on Sunday seem more like an anomaly than a sign of revival or positive change in the Reds' play. Early in the second half, the Egyptian superstar was brought on to the pitch amid explosive expectation from the Kop. But what the fans awaited, a moment of brilliance, a turning point from Salah's feet, did not happen. This is similar to the case of the £125 million marquee signing Alexander Isak, who was almost invisible throughout the match despite scoring his first Premier League goal for Liverpool just the weekend before. In reality, Salah could have faced even more pressure if the shot from in the 81st minute had not fortuitously deflected off Nordi Mukio to become a lucky equalizer, bringing hope for Liverpool in the remainder of the match. However, the true climax of the match happened in Liverpool's half, not Sunderland's. The Anfield hosts only escaped a humiliating defeat in stoppage time thanks to a courageous last-ditch block from Federico Chiesa. The Italian star timely blocked Wilson Isidore's shot right on the goal line after the player had rounded goalkeeper Alisson, preserving a hard-fought and somewhat lucky point for the Merseyside team. Liverpool now truly stands at a major crossroads. Pillars like Van Dijk and Salah are forced to look inward. An entire collective must find a way to rally before things go too far. No one knows if this is just a temporary stumble or a sign that a cycle of success is gradually closing. But one thing is clear, they cannot continue to live off the past. The remainder of the season will show whether Liverpool still has the mettle to rise again or must face more significant changes.